Hey everyone, welcome to another episode from Ampro Engineering. This is the Tamiya Ford Mondeo that you have no doubt seen on this channel a couple times already. We have a very new product for this car that I had actually created when I was 14 or 15 because I was always afraid of crashing the car in the front and damaging the body. This is a little bumper that we've created to deflect any impact from the front to prevent damaging the body. Now, I'd like to say that this is brand new, but I've been using it all day today, so it's got some road rash, which it is supposed to get. That is why I have this. Let's go ahead and install it. Now, this is the Tamiya FF01. Now, on this car in particular, this whole plate was just a wreck. It was all chewed up and just completely ruined. So what I had to do is take the X-Acto knife and trim off any of the burrs that had developed along the edge, and then make sure that on this bumper you clean out inside this valley. It was full of 3D printing residue. So take a sharp instrument and just get it in there and make sure it's all nice and clean. Once you've done that, the bumper will clear the motor heatsink if you have one, and it will just slot directly over this plate here. It is not going to be a loose fit. It should be very nice and snug, and just giving it a nice little squeeze here. You're going to get all the holes to line up there and there. This hole is large enough for an M3 screw head to fit in here without a washer, and to sit sub-flush. This way, as the bumper is hit, the screw head is not deteriorated like used to happen on these 3 screws. You'll go ahead and put a nut on the top side here, and that'll be it. Please note that when installing these, you can drill the hole out with a 3mm drill bit, as these holes are not going to be threaded. I have not done that, so we're just going to go ahead and thread this thing all the way in, but this is not necessary. One thing to be aware of is that if you are running the motor heatsink, there's very little clearance for this screw to put a nut. So what you're going to want to do is put a standard nut in here. Those are usually around 2mm high. On the production model, I'll have a little recess here in the shape of a nut, but you do not want to use a lock nut unless you're grabbing onto it when you're tightening down from here. Otherwise, the little indent is not going to hold that. So on this side here, you're not going to want to use a lock nut simply because it won't fit because of the fins. Here, I'm going to because I like using lock nuts, which is unfortunate because it doesn't really match, but that's just how it's going to be. All right, you can see that that nut is just under the fin. And then again, we have our lock nut on that side. Not particularly elegant, but it gets the job done. You may be wondering what these 2 holes are for, and that is a great question because I don't know. I often will put random holes in a lot of my products because I may want to do something with it one day. Don't know what that is yet, but perhaps one day we'll figure that out. Now the body can be installed. And for once in this car's history, I will finally not be worried about crashing it into something. Now, it's not like the bumper sticks out 10 feet. It is just about planar with the bumper. This is intended to not look horrible, number 1, and number 2, deflect any major impacts from the body. Minor impacts all should be good, and this is why it protrudes so much on the side here. The purpose of this bumper is to actually deflect impacts from the body, being as unobtrusive as possible. You can see that in profile, it should hit something and go over it, as opposed to what the existing bumper does, which just kind of hits it. Now note how low the body sits. I'm using the topmost body post holes on this car's body, which means if you run the body lower, this bumper is not going to work for you. As for fitting other cars, it's very likely that it'll fit a lot more than just the Ford Mondeo. Unfortunately, I simply do not have any other RC car bodies for this chassis other than about 3 of these Mondeo bodies. Sorry, I completely lied. I forgot that I have the Nissan Primera body. But the bumper does in fact fit very nicely with the front of the car. I'm using the same body mounting holes as the Mondeo, so the Nissan Primera is a go. Anyway, that is all, folks. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'm probably going to do a few more things to my TA02 coming up pretty soon, but the FF01's in pretty good shape. I was kind of thinking about a trailer hitch. We shall see. We shall see. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you soon.